Hi, I'm Jeff. This is Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north, and we're going to focus in on Tradescantia today, Wandering Dew. We've got a few things to talk about here. So as I just go through my collection, so we've got, first of all, this is Tradescantia Tricolor Minima. It does come under various names actually. I've seen all sorts of a variety of names for this. It does seem to be susceptible to, I think it's a virus, and I'm going to show you a couple of virus damaged plants. This one does seem to be getting it a little bit just on the edges there. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So that's Minima. This one here is Red Jewel. I just want you to look at the growth habit of it. It hasn't been pinched out. So all I've done with this is put it into a little pot there, a little 8-inch pot, and let it do its thing, completely unfettered. So if you look carefully at it, you can see there are very few side shoots. There is one there that's coming off naturally, but nothing else. It has flowered, it keeps flowering occasionally. You can just see behind it there. This is one that was a cutting that I took about 2 weeks ago, and the cutting is beginning to flower. It's definitely rooted. I had a look. That's rooted fine. Just behind there, this one is, again, not being pinched out at all. And this is what I'm going to show you here. Now, this particular one is Tradescantia Maidens Blush. Really nice kind of pink leaves over the new leaves. Again, this was another cutting that I took. At least going a bit black there. But this one does seem to be prone to sending out its own shoots. It does make quite long, they're quite sturdy these, compared to the Red Jewel, are a bit more floppy. I'll just come over here because I've got two here that I can contrast. So we'll just move that one there, try and get it on its own. So this one in my left hand here, again, this is Tradescantia Maidens Blush, and you can see why Maidens Blush, because of these lovely kind of swirly patterns on the leaves. And this one was, there you go, Tradescantia fluminensis Maidens Blush. These were cuttings from 7th of December. Sent off for them. Cost me about £5 for 5 cuttings. Right, so what's the difference? Well, the one on the right, they're both exactly the same age, by the way. Let's see if we can just... It's tricky because it's getting quite top heavy now. So the one on the left, it's both same age. One on the left done nothing to it, just left it to its own devices. The one on the right, I've pinched it out. In other words, when it got to a certain length, I pinched out the growing tips. So you can see the difference with what's happened there. So what we've got is this one is much longer, but this one has also started to do its own side shoots. This one has done its own side shoots, which have grown at a similar pace, which has kind of slowed down the leads. So if you want to bush these things out, you can pinch out, and what will happen, you just simply pinch out the growing tip, go to a couple of leaves, pinch it out there, and then you'll find that it'll break lower down. But this specific one, this Maidens Blush, does it itself anyway. It breaks lower down without pinching out, and what we've got here is a longer, more trailier, which isn't really a word I know, but more trailing plant. Now, you would think all Tradescantias do exactly the same thing when they're pinched out, but they don't. So I shall just stick that back on that one as well, and just show you what I mean by that. So if we come to, now there's a bit of a mixture here, we've got all sorts here. We've got Tradescantia Purpurea, that's that one, and then we've got the Red Jewel again there, and then this with the bigger leaves, this one is Zebrina. Zebrina is really going for it down here. It's going in all sorts of different directions, zooming off over there, going into that pot over there. it's the red jewel really, and you can see it from this one over here, the red jewel. So you can see the kind of growth habit where it's trailing quite a way, and it's tougher than you think. You know, it kind of comes up again at the bottom. It doesn't trail and just kind of go straight downwards. But that is exactly the same age as this one over in the corner. I'll take this off because I think there's quite a bit of backlight in there. We'll hang it up over here. You can probably see it a bit better. Okay, so this one was pinched out, and you can see how it's made a bushier, more rounded plant. And again, it has flowered in various places. I would normally pinch those because they don't seem to do anything once they've flowered like that. Don't just, if it flowers once, let it keep going. That's what the flower looks like, little pink thing, which looks, it's only small, but you get quite a few of them, and it does look quite attractive. So I would pinch that out. Now this was pinched once, just once. I pinched out the growing tips and let it to do its thing and go bushy. You can do it as many times as you want to maintain that. Some of the leaves are going a little bit off colour there. I don't know whether that's just because it's getting a bit warmer over in the greenhouse now. I'm not sure they're actually that much of a fan of humidity, and I'm trying to maintain humidity for the orchids and the carnivorous plants. Purpurea, that's this one. So here you can see what's happened. What I did here, just move it over so you can see. This was just one stem, one growth, and I pinched out the one growth. No, it wasn't, it was two, sorry, and I pinched out one of the two growths. So what happened was, this was the one that I pinched out, so that went slower. We did have a growth there, but we've got these two new growths down below. The one that I didn't pinch out, I left, and that one's just growing longer and longer and longer. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. You can experiment with these things and get them to do what you know, whatever you want to do really, just by trial and error. Now I was talking about pinching out is a good idea if you want to make it bushy, like the one in the corner there. It works well with red jewel. I've not tried it with the Zebrina, but I guess it would work just the same. And those things that you do pinch out, you can then stick them in. I would use vermiculite, and they're really, really easy to root. I know you can stick them in water. I found vermiculite was the best. So I'm letting them all do various things. I'm just letting that one do its thing. That one is still looking pretty healthy. Flowers aren't quite as nice because they don't really stand out as much as they do on the Purpurea. So I'm going to show you two diseased ones now, and I'll tell you what I'm intending to do with them. Now they're over here in the cooler side. So this one was just from Minima, and it was just basically a cutting of one of the green non-variegated shoots, and I have sprayed it lots of times with anti-fungicide, and you can see the newer younger leaves are okay, but the older leaves are hanging on there. If you're new to my channel, click the subscribe button, ding the notification bell, and you won't miss any updates. So I think it's probably okay now, and even that leaf there that you can see that looks like it's completely dead, it's hanging on and it won't come off. So I'm going to try just simply cutting the entire thing back. I'm going to cut it right down and see if it comes again. I think it will, but I guess time will tell. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the Tricolor Minima, which also got the same fungal disease. And this one, the new growth isn't quite as good on it. It doesn't seem to have recovered quite the same. But it's worth a try. You know, you can just throw these things away because there's certainly, I've got plenty of other things to take cuttings from, but why not just cut it right back? The roots are still there, see if it comes. I think it will, but we'll see. I can show you something, and it's not a Tradescantia, but you can see this pelargonium here. Now this was a pelargonium cutting that came from a plant that was completely diseased. I don't know what was wrong with it, but the whole plant was diseased. I tried fungicide, I tried like a systemic insecticide on it, nothing. So I took two cuttings from it at the end of last year, and it's now about to flower perfectly fine, completely not diseased. So it's worth a try before you throw them away. So I'll let you know how that goes. So that was just a very quick one on Tradescantia, and I will stick that down somewhere there, and I'll come and do that in a little while, and at some point in the future I will come back and I will tell you what the result of me cutting it right back was. I've never grown Tradescantia before, so it's just it's about trial and error really. So you look at what you like, whatever you like, take a cutting of it. I can see this one, like I say, looks like it's getting a little bit diseased. The conditions I've got in the greenhouse, on this side of the greenhouse, are very humid, very warm. It could be that, it could be the water that I'm using. The water comes from a rain barrel that might have viruses in it. And based on the fact that the 2 disease ones that I've got are all from this Minima, even the non-variegated one came from this Minima, so it's definitely could be that's susceptible. The others don't seem to be bothered by the humidity. The red jewel seems fine, that one seems fine, the Maidens Blush seems fine. This one over here does seem like it's okay. Like I say, there are a few yellowing leaves on there, but you know, these things do naturally drop the leaves at some point in the year anyway. They don't keep the leaves forever. So yeah, a little video on Tradescantia. Wandering Jew, if you have any questions or you've got any advice, if you've been growing them longer than I have, please stick it in the comments. Love to hear from you. And for now, that's it, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye.